Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. So once again, the portal is alight with the lovely blue hue, meaning it is once again time to pull some shards, specifically during 2x Ancients this time around. Now, as usual, we are not pulling without a purpose. We are pulling for the purpose of getting some rewards in the Champion Chase. It is unfortunate that this Champion Chase does not accompany the Fusion. The Fusion starts on Monday, at least at the time of this recording, and so we don't get to double dip. It also means that whatever 2x Champion Chase is going to go on during the Fusion will not be 2x Ancient, which is of course the most accessible for majority of the player base, so that is highly unfortunate. But nonetheless, I have set my sights on some of the juicy rewards from this particular Champion Chase. Legendary tomes are always nice to have, but I wouldn't mind getting the legendary relic fragments. However, my goal today, believe it or not, is going to be the mythical tome all the way out there at 7,500. So we're going to try and get all the way out there with just ancients and hope we get decently lucky. We'll definitely need a decent amount of epics along the way, so that is going to be the goal for the day. Obviously, a legendary wouldn't be that bad on top of it either. So popping over to the portal, let's take a look at the overall shard count on my account. At the moment, we have 684 on the ancients, which of course we'll be diving into today, 247 on the voids, 39 on the primals, and then 38 on the sacreds. Now, you may have noticed that I did actually end up choosing a champion for the Progressive Chance events because I thought about it and I remembered that they mentioned that you can get, I think, the Skull of Treason relic for having all 4 of the legendaries featured from the Chaos Awakes event campaign, whatever you want to call it, going on in the game. So I did obviously get Balar the Lost during the guaranteed. I did the Thol Infusion. Lemonisi was free. So technically the only one I would need would be Grokko's Turndreak, even though I don't really care about him as a champion. But if I happen to get him, that would be nice because then I would get myself that relic that I probably won't get otherwise. At least thus far I haven't been able to get it from the relic fragments themselves. So that is going to be my choice for this Progressive Chance event. Now, in terms of Mercy, let me pop up my Mercy tracker on the screen. You can find a link to a copy of this in the description box down below if you'd like a copy for yourself. But as you can see here, we are still relatively fresh off of getting a legendary from our last ancient pull session, so I'm not really expecting anything. However, 7,500 points is a lot of points in the Champion Chase, so it might take upwards of 150 ancients. So we're not necessarily guaranteed to hit a legendary in that amount, but the odds are slightly higher because of how many we might end up pulling in order to get all the way out to that, let's call it a stretch goal in this instance. And with that in mind, we might as well kick things off with our free air quote summon from the summon pool, which I did earn from the Gear Ascension tournament. So let's see if we can get ourselves a 6% chance to get a legendary. Unlikely, but most likely we're going to get an epic here. But regardless, that would be at minimum 250 points. So it is a duplicate Nazana. Not really shocking there, but nonetheless, hey, we're starting off strong with an epic and we're getting 250 points. So long way to go, but nonetheless, it is nice to kind of bank that one. Unfortunately, it's not, Volcanos or Duchess would kind of be the top of the list for champions from this particular summon pool. In terms of who we're looking for from our normal shards here, though, my revised top 3 non-void legendaries are Glaykad of the Meltwater being number 1, Molly Tankard being number 2, and Martyr being number 3. And of course, I do expect and hope to get a lot of epics along the way, so any and all duplicate epics for empowerment will be useful. So without further ado, let's get into the shard pools. We've got tons of space, we've got loads of cash, and hopefully we get some pretty decent, good, epic, great luck. That's what we're looking for. But of course, I would take a legendary along the way. Going to be trying to keep track mentally of our points in the Champion Chase as we go along here. We're starting off at around 290, I believe, with the epic and some pre-pulls from the champion training tournament going on right now. So we add 820 to that. So roughly we're at 1,100 points thus far in the Champion Chase. Not a bad start. So Drake, not much to say about him. Claude, Beast Feeder, somewhat useful if you're either kind of more in the early, the mid game. He can be your increased accuracy champion to get you access to Frostbiter and stuff like that, but also kind of decent in some areas. I think I showcased him in like my mid-game Bommel style of video. And then Volgoth, one of the best like epic tanks in the game with his passive. 1, he just places leech, and 2, he just heals by a percentage of the damage he takes. So he's a very good meat shield, good at soaking up damage. Next, 10 pop here, we have Crowd in the Blue as the sole epic representative here, but great for hard mode Fire Knight, great for faction wars. AoE freeze, it freeze on the A1, and then a turn meter fill with increased speed on the A3. Really solid. I run him in a Relentless set. 1450 in the Champion Chase. Let's keep it going here and see if we can turn up the epic rate. We want to see 2 per 10 pop. That's what we want to see. Another Volgoth. Well, that's exciting. I think the first Volgoth was actually going to be a +4 for my current Volgoth. cost, so this one is just kind of excess. Probably a food champion. Hexia, I've heard she can do cool things in the Cursed City, but I've not personally invested in her. And then Captain Tamila, I think she's one of those champions who empowers someone, one of the Doom Tower epics. So that is also useful in its own way, but she's a kind of an okay champion, like a healer. If you're really desperate in Dark Elves, maybe you can use her, but I've not been convinced to use her myself. I've sacrificed all copies. Legendary! Oh, and it's a duplicate of Killian the Lucky. Quargon the Crowned is okay as well. I think he's kind of underwhelming, and Kanoichi is not that great either. But Killian the Lucky, this is another duplicate for me. He might be the fourth or the third or the fourth. I forget exactly which one, but he's coming definitely clutch in the Cursed City faction wars. He does have a potential 2-turn stun there if he gets a lot of the turn meter away from the target, and he can also reset the cooldown of the skill if you kill the target. So if you set the table right, you can just kind of go back to back on this ability. But his main claim to fame here is the 100% chance to place AoE block active skills for 2 turns, granted on a 4-turn cooldown, but that is kind of par for the course for a block active skills style of abilities. So not going to be super useful unless he is the 4th copy of Killian the Lucky on my account, but nonetheless, Mercy has been reset, and we did get 1 legendary along the way, so we cannot complain all that much for the rest of this particular session. 3,300 in the champion chase, so we still have a good ways to go, but obviously I have a ton of ancient shards, and I'm willing to burn them in this instance. Sachi, fairly underwhelming Shadowkin epic, but she does have the potential to revive when she gets killed, but it's really hard to pull that off, so I would not rely on her for like hard mode or for faction wars in general as your reviver, but nonetheless she can function in that role. 300 points is unfortunately not what we want to see, but that should be 3,600-ish in the champion chase. So again, still a good ways out. Is this going to be a full 10 pop of blues? It looks like it is. Unfortunate. 100 is also not what you want to see. That 7,500 is starting to seem very, very far away with the last 2 10 pops here, but hopefully we can turn things around there. 1 epic, 2 epics. There we go. Can we get a 3rd? Yeah, there it is. Oh, another legendary. Wait. Oh, ooh, it's a new one. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Hey, 2 legendaries in the past, like 40 shards there. It's pretty impressive. It's been a while since we had something like that. But Neldor Rhineblade, kind of like Crowd in the Blue, great for Fire Knight, hard mode. Freezing on the A1, also on his passive he'll join in, or he'll use his A1 when other people freeze, so he synergizes well with other freezers on your team. Taragi the Frog, really great. Ally protection, great for like early game progression in the Demon Lord clan boss. He also has a really amazing passive that can place poisons when he's attacked, but also underrated aspect of his kit is that he has a really reliable provoke on his A2 as well, provided there's some debuffs on the enemy team. And Yaga the Insatiable, the kind of the trap champion that you should never ever use. But Ray is actually new on my account, so she is a nuker from the Dark Elves. You don't really see much of her. She used to be kind of a menace back in the day, but nonetheless she does have a 70% chance to freeze, but it is a full buff removal, so she's kind of nice. Granted, a ridiculously long cooldown there. That's crazy, 6 turns even when booked. But she has some form of CC here, potentially with the freeze and the buff removal. But then she also has this absolute clap of an ability here on the A2, which can deal 50% more damage if the targets are under any debuffs. So could be decreased defense, could be weakened, could be whatever. Doesn't really decrease attack, doesn't matter. She'll just deal more damage by having debuffs on the enemies. And then, of course, the AoE A1 that can place decreased defense. Granted, it's a small chance, but nonetheless, hey, it can definitely work. And it feels like it happens a lot more often when you're against her, which is kind of hilarious. All right, asking you shall receive. We definitely wanted an uptick in points, and we got it. So we're sitting pretty at now 5,600 points in the champion chase. So still 2,000 to go. Oh my god, a back-to-back. That's crazy. We got another one, a 3rd legendary from this session. That is absolutely insane. Okay, we've got Geomancer as the epic, everyone's favorite boss killing DPS, but another 3rd legendary for the session. That's crazy. So we got King Galkabar as well, which is, I believe, this is my first Sylvan Watcher duplicate for Faction Garden, so we'll check all that out later as well. But he's kind of an underrated champion, but he is somewhat useful, I would say. I have not personally used him, but I think he can be useful to just depending on your needs. He has on the A3 a full cleanse that removes all debuff from all allies, and will replace each debuff with 1 continuous heal for 1 turn. Kind of like Grunge Killjoy in that kind of cleanse ability, but also places a shield on them. And then he has kind of the inverse of that. He attacks all enemies, can remove all their buffs buffs, and he will place a poison for 2 turns for every buff that he removes. So, and block buffs for 1 turn. You wish the block buffs was on there for 2 turns just to kind of be more useful in a lot of different areas. But nonetheless, it's a pretty massive buff strip, and it converts into a ton of poisons. And then both of these abilities kind of synergize with his passive, where whenever an enemy under poison attacks an ally under shield, it will instantly activate 1 poison tick on the enemy. So you can just get a lot of free poison ticks by sitting under the shield or sitting under any shield and having poisons out there on the enemy. All right, a quick double check of my math. I was slightly ahead of myself, but we are at 5,900 or basically 6,000 points now after 3 legendaries so far, which is definitely crazy. So we're going to keep it going. The goal is still 7,500, but well, we asked for average luck and we're definitely getting above average luck. I would still like the epic rates to continue somewhat. We don't want to see all blues, unfortunate. So I guess there we go. There's our 6,000 points relatively flat. So we still have 1,500 points to go. So roughly, I want to say 5 epics, give or take, is all that we would need to see, depending on how many rares kind of pop in the middle there. A 3 pop of epics will definitely help. Ator, really annoying, terrible champion, but he can provoke, but he's more of like an enemy combatant type champion. Relic Keeper, you confuse him, no one cares about what he does. And then Gorgrab, really solid reviver if you need him for undead hordes. I used him for a long time in faction wars and other challenge tournaments and stuff like that. Mine is fully empowered, so this is going to be a food copy. All right, 6,800 in the champion chase, so this should be the home stretch, not necessarily this particular 10 pop unless we just get a bunch of epics, but nonetheless we're within 700 points of wrapping it up. 3 epics would do it. Oh, we only got 2, but they're decent ones. Fane, definitely more of like a Demon Lord clan boss DPS champion, kind of who's definitely on par with some of the more powerful legendaries in terms of the damage he can do, especially on unkillable teams. But I think for me, this is probably going to be Empowerment as well. Sandlash Survivor, decent for, or she's one of the many buff extenders in the game. So if you're running one of those Wixwell teams with Titus and you don't have that many options for buff extension, she can be your girl. So we just need 1 more epic, I believe. So we'll do 1, hopefully 1 last 10 pop here, and that should push us over the 7,500 and guarantee that we get ourselves the mythical tome, unless we get all blues. Unfortunate. Or actually, that might have pushed us over. Let me double check in the, if we can get through the pack. So let me double check in the champion chase. That might have just barely pushed us over. Okay, I think it does. All right, yes, we are at the 7,500 points, barely, but hey, we'll take it. 7,521. So we made it to the mythical tome, and I did not deplete my entire stack of ancient shards. Actually, I don't even know how many did I pull. I think we started with 600 and something or other. Obviously 3 legendaries, 1,500 points definitely helped a lot, so that reduced the overall amount of shards we had to pull, but I guess we'll come back to that a little bit later. But yeah, Faction Guardians, let's go ahead and check this out together. So definitely know that we got 2 Sylvan Watchers here. There's my first King Galkabar. Like I said, I haven't really used him yet, but he is on the roster nonetheless. We'll take it. 10% HP, that's great for, I think, Elva comes to mind. Who else might that be useful for? We'll come back to the red dot as well later. But Elva, that's great for more survivability. Oella, that's good for her. More HP for Balar, Emek, and Eostrid, however you say it. So good all around the board. We'll take that. The other one was Killian the Lucky. Oh, it is the triple. It is the triple, not the 4th. So this is effectively useless, but nonetheless, if we do happen to get lucky, pun intended, and get a 4th copy of Killian, then we would have the maxed out Faction Guardians in the Bannerlords. And then, yeah, Dark Elves, she is new, so we can go ahead and check her out as well. But Ray, new to the account. We already went through her kit, but I'll take it. She's another nuker who I could use in the Dark Elves faction crypt. She could also, again, function as kind of a little bit of CC. Granted, you have access to Visix and Mithrala and stuff like that for free, so I'm not really short on control when it comes to Dark Elves, but nuking plus control is not really a bad thing, so I might still end up using her for hard run faction wars. We'll kind of see. But there you have it. 3 legendaries on my account from this particular pull session. Of course, only one of them is new, 2 of them are duplicates, but beggars cannot be choosers. We'll definitely take it. Great for the race, great for points, and great for securing us the mythical tome, which of course was the original goal of the session in the first place. Let me know in the comment section down below if you were also pulling some of your shards over the weekend for 2x Ancients, and let me know if you got anything good. I do think it might be pretty tough to top getting 3 legendaries in one session, but nonetheless, let me know what you got from your shards in the comment section down below. As always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit the like button down below. It really does help out the channel. And also feel free to hit that subscribe button down below if and only if you are enjoying the content overall on this channel for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching and have a good one.